Hey guys, Bombastic Bill here. Um, I haven't been talked about this for a while. This thought came up this week. Um, Basically, just a kind of a question for flat earthers. So, if the Earth is flat, how come when you take a solar panel and you have it completely flat, level with wherever you're working, a house or whatever, a table, and it's exposed to the sun, and it's attached to a voltmeter? How come when you have it completely flat, it has less volts and produces less electricity than when it's tilted? So why would there be any difference between if the Earth is completely flat, like you say, and the sun is traveling completely around this flat Earth? Shouldn't the rays be completely? Wouldn't they be the most focused, completely perpendicular to the sun? Why, when you tilt a solar panel, do you get higher volts? In my mind, that is because the Earth is a sphere and we're tilted, so that when you go and tilt the solar panel, you're actually becoming more perpendicular to the sun's rays. That's an explanation that works for me. If you can figure out an explanation and get back to me on why you think that happens with a flat Earth, I'm all ears. I would really love to hear what your information is. And if you don't believe me when I'm saying, look on YouTube. There are tons and tons of videos of people taking a solar panel connected to a voltmeter or an ammeter and tilting it and showing an increase in output. So if you don't believe me, look on YouTube. So, using a flat Earth framework, can you explain to me why that is observed? Okay, now that's out of the way. I just want to comment on. I don't know what's been happening lately, but I've taken 3 suggestions from people I respect on YouTube. I'm not going to name anybody, but people I really respect on YouTube and for movies. And they all have to be on Netflix, so I have Netflix, so it was easy for me to go and watch them. And all 3 of them were just horrible. They were like, I had to turn off one of them, halfway through because it was just so bad. And the other 2 were just like, I wanted to tear my hair out the whole time. The one I had to turn off in the middle was the Europa report. And the part I had to turn it off on is when they're outside, and these 2 astronauts are outside. They're on their way to Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter, and they're outside trying to fix something on the spaceship, and a line breaks, and all of a sudden hydrazine. Okay, so hydrazine gets on them, and 2H4 gets on them. Hydrazine. All right, and they like flash on the astronaut suit, and it looks like ecto cooler or something. Like it's ridiculous, and it's like all like translucent and like changing color. And the guy's like, "Oh my God, you're contaminated. You have to get back on the ship." They're treating it like it's like 10 times stronger than sulfuric acid, and if it touches you, you die instantly. And I could not watch it anymore. It's so funny too because I'm a big supporter of the military, and I have some of my reservations about NASA, but I still support their mission. I think one of the biggest bullshit pieces of propaganda they ever did, though, was when the Chinese launched an anti-satellite missile, an ASM, and where it was able to hit it kinetically, meaning it didn't use any explosive warheads. It was just able to use ballistic trajectory to set a kinetic impactor right through the satellite. And so America we couldn't let that stand. So all of a sudden we had an emergency where a satellite was kind of off orbit a little bit, and its orbit was degrading, and it was going to crash back into the Earth, in the next 10 years or so. And the reason they had to shoot it down was because it had hydrogen on it. And oh my God, hydrogen is just so terrible. It's just it'll kill you if you touch it. That's kind of how they were talking. And so they had to shoot it down. I mean, come on, if you're gonna shoot down a satellite, just shoot it down. Don't try to make some weird excuse for at the expense of chemistry to shoot it down. I mean, yeah, hydrogen it's toxic, but it's not as toxic as 500 other substances I can name. So it's very weird why they're trying to pick on one substance, and I think this movie kind of either heard that news or read somewhere that hydrogen can be, and they just completely treated it like it was like the plague. It was hilarious. So I just had to turn it off. I could not stand chemistry being disrespected like that. It was ridiculous. The other two movies and these are from 3 different people on YouTube that I respect. So it wasn't just like one person recommending movies. It was 3 different people that as soon as I heard them recommend it, I stopped what I was doing on YouTube, switched to Netflix, and watched the movie. And each time I was just disappointed. The second one was probably the most enjoyable of the 3, and that was Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue. And it was about the horror industry in America, like horror movies. And that was really interesting up until they got to the 1980s. They're going kind of chronologically. And the narrator is like, 1980s is when the horrors of the screen started manifesting themselves in Reagan's America. And I was trying to think, what was comparable from a horror movie where people are getting their eyes gouged out and they're getting cut in half and all this sadomasochistic shit's happening, to Reagan's America. What was tax cuts the same as cutting someone's throat? Was the increased economy just the same as 2 teenagers fucking in the woods getting sliced by Jason? I mean, it was the most ridiculous stretch I've ever heard. And then these like directors you're talking to were completely serious about how horrible it was that Reagan was trying to make America seem like it was a great country, but we knew it was horrible. Like seeing one homeless guy on the street means that all of America is still reeling from a social disease. Everyone should be helping each other instead of focusing on building a business or building an economy. It was towards the end, it just got super, super, super preachy. And then finally, the last movie that I just saw this last night. The reason I wanted to make this comment is kind of thinking like, man, I've been burned on movie recommendations lately. Was this movie called Call Me Lucky. It's about a comedian, Barry Crimmins, and I just knew from the opening, like his opening act, that I would not like it. Like I'm gonna say that the guy is not funny. He's not. Basically all of his humor relies on just calling America horrible and injustice this and injustice that. America's a bunch of murderers and blah blah blah. People ask me why I stay in America if I hate it so much. Well, because I don't want to be a victim of its foreign policy, blah blah blah. And it's just, and I understand the movie was trying to go to a different route. It was trying to explore, his sexual abuse and how that turned him into kind of an advocate for people who've been abused as children. That's great. That's fine. That's fine and dandy. But to take out, like, oh my God, his ravings on the Catholic Church, just like tweeting the Pope to excommunicate him all the time, and how horrible Catholicism is, how horrible they are. And if you want my opinion about the priest abuse scandal, it's horrible. Okay, no one's going to defend these guys. Okay, and they shouldn't. The Catholic Church shouldn't have dealt with it internally, because what happened is it blew up into a bigger problem that they couldn't manage. That they thought they could. And yeah, I kind of understand where they were coming from, especially back in the 50s and 60s. But once it started getting more towards the modern era, like the 70s and 80s, you got to tell somebody. However, to paint an entire religious organization as a bunch of pedophiles is, why don't we do the same for teachers? I bet there's statistically as much or probably more teachers who've been convicted of pedophilia than Catholic priests. Okay, so why isn't there this, a meme about teachers raping kids, or Boy Scout leaders? I'm sure there's been Boy Scout. Find any segment of society, and I bet there's been a pedophile in them. Okay, and it's just such an easy target. It's simplistic. It's the reason why I hated the last few Quentin Tarantino movies, like Django Unchained and Inglourious Basterds. It's like you're picking the most easy target you can: slave owners and Nazis, and you're going at it. It's like, I haven't seen this before. This is really original. So yeah, and that it's that Barry Crimmins. I had to watch the whole thing. I was so flabbergasted by this guy's, and really what I thought about his political ideologies was just they were very childish. It's like, oh, we should just be helping each other out. Everyone should just be peaceful and blah blah blah. Totally negating what human nature is. Human nature. We want to protect people around us. We want to protect our families. Okay, and we want to do good by them. So that totally entails making money for yourself, supporting yourself. Protecting those who are weaker than you, protecting women and children who you view as weaker than you because they need protecting. And it means securing resources for you, because we live in a globe of finite resources. If we don't do it, some other country's not going to step in and go, oh, here, take some of our oil, take some of our food, take some of our jobs. It's not going to happen. So this whole idea of how we can subvert all of human conditioning and go to a truly altruistic state where we develop a hive mind and care completely about the other person it's never going to work. Why hasn't it worked in any other country? Why has communism always developed a tyrant or somebody who hoards power? It's because that's the human condition. Okay. At least in capitalism, you have the opportunity to hoard power yourself. You're not, artificially kept down by saying, "Oh, you're a proletariat. You need our protection. You need someone bigger than you to help you out." So, sorry, I kind of got into a little weird rant there about movies, but mainly I want to put this out there because I haven't put out a Flat Earth video in a while. So, please comment. Tell me about. Again, am I full of shit? Where am I wrong? Flat Earth or otherwise. So, okay, guys, adios. Bombastic Bill out.